अभी तो असली मंजिल पाना बाकी है, अभी तो इरादों का इम्तिहान बाकी है, अभी तो तोली है बस मुट्ठी भर जमीन, अभी तो तोलना पूरा आसमान बाकी है. A very warm welcome to all the esteemed guests and attendees who gathered here for the webinar being conducted by Disha, the Civil Services Society of Shivaji College. Disha, जैसा कि नाम से ही पता चलता है, दिशा का उद्देश्य है छात्रों को सही दिशा निर्देशन देना ताकि वे अपने सिविल सर्वेंट बनने के सपने को जल्द से जल्द पूरा कर सकें. The thing that holds the utmost importance while appearing for any competitive examination is proper guidance. When we analyzed that many students did not get selected just because they did not get the right guidance at the right time, this paved way for the formation of Disha, a newer society added to the Shivaji family. Here, we guided rounds of the students appearing for the civil service examination. We have formed a group of aspirants where we share the necessary study material, newspapers, current affairs, and to test the knowledge, regular quizzes are conducted. Moreover, we are also running a successful YouTube channel. At Disha, we provide a platform where aspirants join us to make their journey a tad more enjoyable and a lot more easier. Introducing you all to the council members, we have Mr. Umesh Meena as our president, Mr. Mayank Yadav as our vice president, Ms. Urvashi Gupta as our secretary, Mr. Sachin Meena as our treasurer, and Ms. Apurva as our joint secretary. हमारे आज के इस वेबिनार में हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं IRS रवि कपूर सर, जो कि हमारी गेस्ट स्पीकर हैं, हमारे कॉलेज के प्रिंसिपल प्रोफेसर शिव कुमार सहदेव और हमारी सोसाइटी के कमेटी मेंबर. Our college principal, Professor Shiv Kumar Sahadev. It is under his able guidance that Disha is flourishing. ये हमारी प्रेरणा के स्रोत हैं. समय समय पर बच्चों को सही दिशा निर्देशन देना और उनसे अच्छा संबंध बनाना इनकी खासियत है. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, Principal Sir could not join us, but he has sent his best wishes for the webinar. तो इसी के साथ हम अपने कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करते हैं. Now, I request our convener, Dr. Darshan Pandey Sir, to welcome our speaker, IRS Ravi Kapoor Sir.
हाँ, नमस्कार. मेरी आवाज आ रही है रुचि?
हाँ जी सर.
हाँ, नमस्कार. मैं दिशा सोसाइटी की तरफ से और पूरे कॉलेज की तरफ से आज के स्पीकर श्री रवि कपूर जी का स्वागत करता हूं. कुछ स्वास्थ्य कारणों से मैं भी आज थोड़ा सा कहीं अन्यत्र दूसरी जगह पर हूं, तो थोड़ी देर रहूंगा मैं कार्यक्रम में. बाकी रवि कपूर जी रहेंगे आज के इस कार्यक्रम में, उनका मार्गदर्शन मिलेगा. तो मैं पूरे शिवाजी कॉलेज की तरफ से, दिशा सोसाइटी की तरफ से हमारे अतिथि रवि कपूर जी का हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करता हूं. इसके अलावा हमारी सोसाइटी के सभी शिक्षकों का स्वागत है जो जुड़े हुए हैं. हमारी सोसाइटी के सभी शिक्षक का लगातार इसमें सहयोग रहता है कार्यक्रम के आयोजन में, मार्गदर्शन में. तो उन सबका स्वागत करता हूं. कार्यक्रम में बहुत बड़ी संख्या में विद्यार्थी भी जुड़े हुए हैं हमारे शिवाजी कॉलेज के और शिवाजी कॉलेज से बाहर के तमाम कॉलेजेस से, विश्वविद्यालयों से. तो ये दिशा सोसाइटी की मेहनत का ही परिणाम है. कितनी बड़ी संख्या में दूसरे कॉलेजेस के भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो है इसमें जुड़ रहे हैं. तो ये आप लोगों की मेहनत है. तो मैं आप सबको बधाई देता हूँ, शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ और आशा करता हूँ कि आपकी सोसाइटी लगातार और बेहतर करती रहेगी और जो लक्ष्य लेकर ये चल रही है, आने वाले समय में हमें इसके बहुत ही सकारात्मक और सार्थक परिणाम भी देखने को मिलेंगे. बहुत ज़्यादा समय ना लेते हुए मैं पुनः आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं और हमारे आज के जो विशेष आमंत्रित वक्ता हैं उनका पुनः हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूं. धन्यवाद.
आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर. कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं हमारे गेस्ट स्पीकर IRS रवि कपूर सर से आग्रह करूंगी कि वे आए और हमारा मार्गदर्शन करें. परंतु उससे पहले आप सभी को इनके बारे में कुछ बताना चाहूंगी. Mr. Ravi Kapoor is an IRS officer working as a Deputy Commissioner in the Ministry of Finance. the author of a popular book about UPSC preparation, the founder of Becoming IAS Initiative, which is driven to simplify the UPSC exam for the Indian youth. He represented India in international tournaments in powerlifting and won the bronze medal for India in the Asian World Powerlifting Championship. He is currently pursuing a master's in clinical psychology and is deeply passionate about recasting education formats in India. Sir, it's an absolute honor to have you here, and I'm sure everyone is as excited as me to learn about your journey. Moreover, we would love to hear from you on the topic UPSC exam and the syllabus of life.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Ruchi, and for that comprehensive overview. Thank you also to Pandey sir for pointing out and attributing credit to your foundation and the good work that it is doing. I think you deserve it. Now, what I have in store for you today is I am going to try my best to offer as much advice and as much insight as I possibly can, given the time that I have, right? And I would like to do it in a rather unconventional way. I have prepared something of a presentation for you, and you will have these accompanying graphics, which you can see on my screen, and they will accompany me, give you visual cues, and we'll have hopefully a very healthy and interesting discussion about some very important things in life, particularly about the UPSC exam. You might be wondering about the entire setup and why I have these pillars here and why this kind of an ambience at all. And obviously you must be wondering about this room that I'm sitting in, right? Well, what I would like to tell you is that I was very smitten by an idea. You see, there was something called the Library of Alexandria. This was a library, a temple of knowledge, essentially, which the ancient Greeks had built. You know, the ancient Greeks had built a temple of knowledge, and what they would do, and their rulers were very passionate. So they would send out emissaries and voyagers, explorers all around the world, all across the globe, in order to collect and curate all the best knowledge and content in the world and bring it back and store it in this library of knowledge, the Library of Alexandria. I really like this idea. And so what I tried to do is set up my own small, tiny Library of Alexandria. Now, this may sound very sophisticated and very fancy, but I can assure you that it is not. And my purpose here in this interaction with you will be to take you through the process and how I got here, how I think that I have actually no right to be where I am, because the education system, you see, the education system that you're going through, which I have gone through, which everybody has to go through, did not deem me to be a successful or an academically good student. I was very average student, never scored well in my class, never scored well in my school. I would like to show you something interesting and also something embarrassing, but only if you promise not to laugh at me. This is me when I was in school and college. You know, fat kid, shy kid, with absolutely no idea of where his life is going to go, and absolutely, no idea of what I was doing. I was an average student. I had no interest in academics or studies, and I did not know which direction to take. I was not even serious about it for some reason. A major transition in my life happened, and this is building up to the UPSC exam, and I'll tell you how it prepared me for the UPSC exam, how it all oriented me, and how it ultimately led to success in that area. But the story would be incomplete, you see, if I do not give you the background. And the background is as important as the story itself, because you learn. And this is one of the things which I would like to share with you, and that you will learn that the whole thing is a journey. The UPSC examination, what you are going through now, everything, all of this is a journey, and you win. You win. You win the examination, you win at life, you win at relationships when you enjoy the journey. This is something that I have learned over and over. It has been reinforced into me. It's a journey. So this was me then. A major change happened when I started to do bodybuilding. and I got very interested in athletics. You see, the idea of showing this to you is that I learned a few very, very important things. I learned things which really surprised me to the core. Things which no school or college or teacher or mentor had ever taught me. My parents didn't do it either. What I learned from this experience, and this is going to be important for you in the context of the UPSC exam also, is that you see the body is changeable. It changes. To us, it appears at times that it is completely fixed and rigid, that it cannot be changed. You know, that we are born with a body and it cannot be changed. I found that this is not the case. I found when I pursued athletics and when I pursued bodybuilding and all, that you can change the way you look depending on what you want and how aggressive you are in getting it. There is a way to do this. Celebrities do it all the time. This shook my foundation in that idea of stability. I asked myself, if I can change the body and make it look like whatever I want to look like, if I can go from being a fat kid and a shy kid to being somebody who's doing bodybuilding on a stage, literally without clothes, it requires a lot of confidence, you can imagine. And if that can be done, then what else can be done? What else is on the menu that nobody told me about? I felt a little bit cheated. I felt a little bit betrayed by my entire environment. People who were supposed to teach me didn't teach me, but perhaps to their benefit, it was not something that they had known. I learned from bodybuilding and powerlifting and athletics that hard work pays. That hard work pays only when it is done smartly, not otherwise. I learned another important lesson. I learned about discipline, you see, and I learned one thing which I think you will learn one way or another, and I would very much like that you learn it the easy way rather than the hard way. I learned from doing bodybuilding and athletics, and also this helped me massively in the UPSC exam, that the level of competition that you anticipate is going to be much more than what you'll actually find. That we live in a competitive world, that we live in a world and in a country or in a place where competition is very high. And I started to then respect this competition. I started to respect the level of hard work and finesse which people would bring into the competition. And I got to understand what my own standards should be, right? Another embarrassing detail that I'll share with you is that, and this is me after having done bodybuilding. I'm not showing you my muscles. I'm showing that I lost all my muscles. I lost everything that I had worked for, and the changes kept on happening. The changes did not stop. Changes never stopped, you know. Bodybuilding also taught me about honesty and merit. You see, it's a very transparent game, especially powerlifting. The purity of it, the pure merit-based quality of it. What I found to be the case in the UPSC examination, I had had a taste of it in bodybuilding, powerlifting, any type of athletics, I believe, because it's all judged in very objective manner. You see, if there is a weight there and there is a barbell loaded with a weight and you're supposed to make the lift and it's a competitive lift, so you either lift it or you don't. Right? There's very rare cases in which there is anything in between. It either comes up or it doesn't. There is absolute purity and honesty in it. This became very clear. I hope this becomes clear to you as well as you go into the UPSC examination and in other areas of life. It's going to be very competitive, more competitive than you can imagine. Yeah, respect the person who is putting in the effort and try to outwork him. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. That's one. Hard work is only useful when it is done smartly. Discipline is very important because the level of competition is going to be very high. Always focus on honesty and being absolutely merit-based. Another very important thing I learned is that, you know, people tell you about passion. You should follow your passion. And it's become so ubiquitous, so cliched that you hear it pretty much everywhere. You put on FM and you might hear somebody telling you about passion and prescribing passion to you. I learned the hard way that passion is not all that it is made out to be. I learned that the equation that they were feeding us, that they, I'm sure, is being fed to you in some form or another, is incomplete. It's incomplete. You see, passion gets us the energy. If you're passionate about something, if something makes the hair on your body tingle, and if you get goosebumps, then you're on the right track, because it will give you the fuel to do that thing for a long period of time. But it does not differentiate between good activities and bad ones. I learned through my experiences in bodybuilding and powerlifting, because you see, I was brutalizing my body. I realized that this might be passion, correct, and it probably will get me a decent level of success, but it will not allow me to have a very healthy life, because I won't enjoy a healthy body after doing 10 years of this. That became clear to me. So that's one thing which I wanted to tell you. The final thing which this chapter of my life taught me, and which I want to convey to you, is that success in school and college is very different from success in life. You will learn soon enough that completely different ball games are going on in the world as you go. So anyway, after this stage of my life, I started preparing for the UPSC. This picture of me is a picture of me in during the UPSC preparation. In this picture, I'm an aspirant. And again, to my surprise, I learned that none of my muscles and all of my hard work actually went away. My insight had a revision of sorts. It iterated upon itself. Now I started to realize that, you see, you will become whatever you push your body or your mind to become. Now I started to experiment on intelligence, and I wanted to see if an average student like me with absolutely no brains and no academic distinctions or achievements to speak of, can I attempt and become successful at what is supposedly the world's toughest examination, or one of the world's toughest examination. And I went into this with a mindset which I had already been taught by my experiences, that yes, if the body is changing, then definitely the mind also must be changing. I didn't care to do the research. I was, in a way, slightly arrogant and highly confident of my abilities. That this must be the case, and I'm going to see if it is. And I started to then get very involved in this UPSC preparation, and I did it with a lot of passion also. I won't lie to you. And it completely transformed me. I realized that the mind is very much like the body, and it undergoes transformations depending on how it is being used. What is it being used for? Here is, in fact, a simple thumb rule which you can use in your life. It will apply for the UPSC exam. It will apply for anywhere. If you are pushing yourself to do something, physical or mental or whatever, you will get better at it over time. It's very simple. It's just the way the organism is built, just the way human beings are. We're very curious creatures, We're very, very driven creatures. We cannot fathom, we cannot accept uncertainty. It is in the nature of human beings to be curious, to push beyond. We never stop. We are explorers. It is the reason for the success of our species. This led me to discover certain other thing about intelligence. I found that when it is applied, when your mind is applied and you force your mind to be applied to a certain thing, it gets better at doing that over time. It doesn't mean that you come into this world with a certain fixed amount of intelligence and the intelligence is not increased. That is completely bunkum, and it has been debunked. In fact, research from neuroscience is telling us now, unequivocally, with a very powerful set of evidences, that the brain is plastic. This is very big news for you guys, because you are now close to the age of adult. And before this research, this insight came, it was largely believed that the amount of neurons and the amount of brain cells you have is fixed. After childhood, it does not increase. That has been proven to be false. Big news for you. What this means is that it will continue to grow depending on the direction and the forces which you apply on it. Right? Say you are an average student like I was. Say you're not highly interested in academics. Say you have issues with attention. I had issues with attention and perhaps noticeable degree of ADHD also, attention deficit disorder, but that's a different story. Suppose you are in that situation. I know that most of you are, by the way. So what will come to your rescue is the fact that you do not even know what your brain is capable of, because you have not pushed it beyond certain degrees. It will surprise you. It is what it is supposed to do. It is, in fact, the most complex object known in the universe. so far, from all our explorations at the atomic level and at the cosmic level, humans have never encountered an object as complicated or as complex as the human brain. It contains about 100 billion neurons, with each of these connected to others in billions of ways, not billions, perhaps millions. The number of connections that there are exponential and possibly more than the number of atoms in this entire universe. No, that's wrong. In the entire world. In the entire world. That is the potential of your brain and your hardware. But it all depends on how you use that hardware. It all depends on how and to what purposes that hardware is put to use. You understand what I'm saying? And so these insights, I went into the UPSC exam. What is the UPSC exam? The UPSC examination is essentially an examination which the government uses to recruit the top tier management, so to speak, of the government, what they call Group A services. What they're basically recruiting are top level managers. And then there is a progression in the career and so on. And it depends on which service and which department you end up working. But the idea is to recruit managers. What kind of managers? Generalist managers, for the most part. They want managers and people who can respond to, take care of, simplify very large, complicated issues over a large width of areas, very diverse areas. You see, as an officer, you might be working in the Ministry of Agriculture or the Ministry of Commerce, but you might not have a background in commerce, or you might not have a background in law, for example. The job that I currently do is that I'm essentially a public prosecutor. And so I argue cases in the court of law in front of other lawyers who are professional lawyers. They have LLBs and law degrees and years of practice. And I have to do what a lawyer does in court, and I'm able to do it. It did not come easily. I had to work hard for it, but it came. The fact of the matter, and what helped me push myself to be able to do this, what is helping me to do what I did in the past, my experiences in powerlifting, bodybuilding, my experiences in the UPSC exam, and what the same thing you see is helping me today. That's what I wanted to illustrate. The same ability to learn, unlearn, relearn over a broad area, a broad range of areas is what I have learned from the UPSC exam, and it is what I would like to impart on you today. How is the UPSC examination structured? There are 3 elimination rounds. There is the prelims, there is the mains, and then there is the interview. I'm sure you know most of this stuff, but I'll recap just in case. There are some very, very freshers. There are people who don't really know about it. The prelims is objective type. It's highly competitive, and you have to score above a certain cutoff to make it to the mains. If you clear the prelims, you get to write the mains exam, which is an extensive marathon of an exam, essentially. You know, that exam includes 27 hours worth of writing, 27 hours worth of examination you will be writing, or 27 hours, not simultaneously, not in a not without breaks, obviously. They'll give you a date sheet, but 27 hours of that duration of those 5-7 days, you'll be writing. You won't be ticking, you're writing. This is subjective, it is essay type. You will write pages upon pages upon pages and booklets upon booklets in that exam. That's the mains exam. It is a more detailed exam. Your conceptual understanding, your level of maturity is tested. I will tell you more about this as I go. But in the eventuality that you clear it, you get to appear in the interview. The interview is also one of the it's a unique attribute of this exam, I would say. And in the interview, you know, you have a panel of very, very mature and sophisticated individuals. I've had 3 of these. I've given 3 interviews, and all 3 times I was analyzed, and very objectively, thoroughly, I was scrutinized in a very polite manner. They were never rude to me. They will never be rude to you. They are very, very mature people. They are just trying to gauge. They're trying to understand the level of maturity you bring and the level of empathy you bring. They're trying to judge if this person will be a good fit for the government job or not. That's what they're trying to do, and they do so in a very professional manner. So they'll, for the most part, be able to figure it out. That's the structure of the UPSC exam in general. Now, here is where the crux of the matter and my entire talk and the topic of it enters the picture. The UPSC syllabus, you see, is, I think, the syllabus of life itself. Why do I say this? Why is the UPSC syllabus the syllabus of life, and what is the syllabus of life? You see, the UPSC syllabus is very vast. If you look at it, you will find that they do not necessarily distinguish between disciplines. I mean, you will not find the word economics or polity mentioned separately, at least not in the mains exam. You'll find a list of topics, you'll find a list of issues, right? And they leave it up to you to understand whether this should be understood in economics, and they don't really necessarily tell you what they're going to ask you. And the syllabus is not very rigid. See, there are a list of topics. There is a level of understanding about the world in general, which is expected. Questions are asked accordingly. They do not necessarily have to stick to any syllabus when they say that the aspirant should be well versed with recent technological advancements. They do not mean that you require a lot of understanding of science, or you should be a scientist and know the chemical formulas of certain compounds. What they mean is that you should be able to appreciate the scientific worldview that modern science is now presenting to us. You should be able to pinpoint, identify what are the recent technological advancements and how they are changing life, and why they are important to human beings. Why are they important to people? Why are they important to Indians? What issues could they bring? Take, for example, crypto. That's very much in vogue, and that's very much part of our lives. Some of you may want to invest in it. Some of you might think something about it. But one thing is surely very true, is that it has become part of our lives. Very soon it will become even a larger part of our lives. If not cryptocurrencies, digital money at least is very much part of our lives. You use UPI, I use UPI. We have so many means of digitally transferring money and currency. When it is not mediated by a bank, we call it cryptocurrency, and then there is a different technology which governs the transactions, but whatever. The idea is that it's very much there. It will emerge in the examination, in the UPSC exam, not because it's in the syllabus. You will not find the word cryptocurrency in the syllabus. It will emerge in the UPSC paper because it is very much important to life, because it raises certain important questions, it raises certain important issues. It can impact your life, and it is in fact impacting the country. As somebody who's trying out for a government job, who's going to be working in departments where this becomes pertinent, you require a very thorough understanding of the issues. You don't need to know coding, or you don't need to create your own cryptocurrency or your own blockchain. You just need to know what happens if there is too many unregulated crypto exchanges. You need to understand how people can use it to bring money into the country, to take money out of the country. You need to understand and appreciate the fact that this is an issue, and you need to be able to suggest solutions. Nobody cares or wants to know your opinions. Yes, your opinions are important, but only as long as they're informed opinions. The other reason the UPSC syllabus is the syllabus of life is that it forces us to re-educate ourselves. Here, like in your college, there is no teacher, dedicated teacher, who is responsible for your performance, although that might not be the case in your case also, but there is no structure. You are not accountable to anybody in the UPSC examination, and you're not accountable to anybody in life as well. If, for example, you do well in your college, you do badly in your college, consequences will follow depending on whatever you do, good or bad. This is not the case with the UPSC exam, because nobody wants or cares about you being in it for a whole duration of a year or two. It usually takes 1 or 2 or even more years to get through the entire process. It's a very long drawn process. You are on your own. during that process. There is no midterm exam, there is no long-term exam, there is one exam, and you either make it or you don't. And what's on that exam? Everything is on that exam. Yes, I'll tell you how to simplify the whole thing, but this is the factual overview that I must share with you. Since everything is on the examination, you are forced to re-educate yourself. This is no longer a matter of you not liking history or you not liking polity or you not liking, commerce in school. This is you dealing with issues important to life and developing a particular interest level and appreciating those topics, whether they are historical or they are economic or whatever they are. Now, you might ask me, why should I study history? Or why should I be interested in it? As such, doesn't appear to have any impact on my life. And I would disagree with you politely, because I would have to tell you that it has very much to do with your life. You see, history is a catalog of mistakes, if anything at all. It is a catalog of mistakes and improvements. It's a whole menu of things which were done correctly. It's a whole menu of things which were done not correctly, and it is there for us to analyze and to objectively take from it what we can. We respect the great Emperor Ashoka. Why? Because 2000 or so years ago, he was a guy who was essentially the most powerful man in the universe, in the world at that time. Think of him as at least as powerful as Putin or Donald Trump. That level of power he had. Why did he choose non-violence? Why did he have edicts? Why did he have his pillars embellished and implanted all across his empire? And why did he care about his subjects? We took that idea of caring about people. The government should be caring about people, and we've taken it into modern times, into modern India. As soon as India became of these ideals which informed our opinion, this is not a coincidence that you see the Ashokan emblems are very much on the national emblem. He had a conception of good governance long before the concept had even emerged formally. It happened in the 1950s, and the World Bank popularized it, but back then he had that idea. He was benevolent. He was a dictator and a monarch, but he was benevolent. He focused on the welfare of his people, and because of the quality of life and because of the improvement that he was able to institute in their lives, he was respected. Because he did those things, we respect him today, and we have taken those principles now into modern India. All this information you get from history. Everything you read in history, mind you, is there because it has some relevance to your life now, and it is up to you, or a very curious person, to figure out what that connection is. If you keep drawing such connections, it is infinitely interesting. There are certain insights which I would like to share about the UPSC exam, and then I'll be more specific from this point going on out. You see, the UPSC exam is essentially a job. It's a very specific job-oriented examination. They're recruiting. They have certain requirements. They want to fill those requirements. They will conduct a test to see who fits in those requirements, much like this example of the wrench and the nuts and screws. You must fit. You must prove that you are a good fit for this. What exactly would a thing like a government be looking for? You see, why? Take, for example, you wanting a job in Google, say, or you wanting to work with Facebook, or you wanting to work with Amazon, or somebody like that. Now, we know what these corporations want. We know to a certain extent what their problems might be, and if you have a solution to that problem, then they'll hire you. Obviously, before applying to these jobs, you will do certain research. You will go onto their website and figure out which role you might be a good fit for, and then you'll apply, and then you'll try to convince them that I am a good fit for it. Is this not what you do when you apply for colleges? Some of you might be applying for colleges abroad, and the question that they end up asking you is, are you a good fit? Why do you think you're a good fit? And what do you see yourself doing after 5 years? This is essentially what the government is also asking in the UPSC exam, but not the government, the UPSC, but whatever. Just like you will do certain research to get to know Google and Facebook and your future employer, you need to do some research about your future employer if it is the UPSC, and if you want to be employed in the government of India. What are they looking for? They're looking for people who can appreciate the problems of the country and people who can possibly provide solutions. I'll repeat that for clarity. They are looking for people who understand the complexities and the goals of the country and people who can provide solutions. Notice the fact that I have mentioned that all of it is about the goals and the needs of the country. Here's in fact an experiment you can do. Whip out the UPSC syllabus, look at it, especially the main syllabus, general studies, look at it, and then look at the list of ministries in the government. You will find that they virtually overlap. There is an issue which a ministry is built around, right? A ministry is a problem-solving organization for a particular thing. Women and child development, urban development, environment and forests, whatever. You need to understand the problems and the challenges which India faces, and you need to be able to address those challenges to a certain degree. Now, I know that this is a very generic type of a statement. There is a lot to be said about it, and perhaps one day we will talk about this in much detail. Now, another one, and a big one. This examination is going to force you to think, and think very deeply. It will be a challenge of independent thinking. Nowhere in this examination, almost nowhere in this examination, will you be able to work your way through just by memory alone. They will make sure, even in prelims, even in the objective type of questions that you encounter, that your concepts and your understanding, your fundamental understanding is thoroughly tested. You will not get the right answers without it. The conceptual understanding and maturity about the topic is required. There's no escaping it. It is going to force you to think independently. Here's another experiment you can do. Open up the UPSC notification, look at what is mentioned in the syllabus, in the requirements of it. You will find these words: think independently, balance judgment, curiosity. These words are mentioned there. The commission, the Union Public Service Commission, is mentioning this and is telling you that these are the qualities which we want, and these are the qualities which we will be testing you on. It is going to ask you to think independently, to become rational, more skeptical, more objective. Now, part of that endeavor is to understand that you are wrong in some fundamental way. You know, we often go around in life thinking, because we have a certain degree of certainty that we feel inside us, that we think that we are right. We never pause to think that we are wrong in some fundamental way, and we just don't know it yet. It is very difficult to carry this thought in your mind because it causes cognitive dissonance. You see, it causes friction to assume and to entertain the idea that you're not right, that you're wrong. There is always merit in knowing what you don't know. This is objectivity. It is about getting to know your own biases, your own blind spots. It's not just about getting to know more about the world. A very big factor of knowing about the world, a very big component, is you yourself. Your knowledge of the world is incomplete without your knowledge of your own self, right? You need to be aware of your own strengths and weaknesses, of your own biases, and of your own issues. And only then can you arrive at a truly impartial, a truly well thought out analysis of any issue. Take, for example, take a hypothetical example. Say you are an officer, an IPS officer, an IAS officer, whatever. you have to take a difficult judgment call on a complicated ethical issue. Say there are certain people and they did not do anything wrong and that they found themselves in trouble and you would really like to help them, but your hands are tied and you have the entire ethical dilemma in front of you. Or, for example, you are the officer in charge of a district and a proposal appears in which a lot of modernization can be conducted. A flyover can be built, you know, there will be a stadium there, a lot of investment is required, it is available, and you say, let's do it. But on the same issue, on the other hand, there is the issue of displacement of a lot of people who do not have livelihoods. There are going to be a certain set of people who will suffer from this decision of yours. What the UPSC wants to see is how much of the implications are you able to understand? Are you just completely mono-minded and focus only on the modernization of it, or are you able to take into account other stakeholders? Are you able to take into account and appreciate the fact that somebody will lose their home and that somebody will have to move out and somebody will probably has been living there for, you know, decades, perhaps has a family home or something. It will get completely uprooted. Do you have an appreciation of what women at large will go through when they go through displacements like this? This requires not only empathy, but understanding and knowledge. I want to show you something very interesting. This will require me to share my screen. It's a fantastic video, which I want to show you. I have curated some videos. And I will share my screen and I'll try to show it with you. Let's see if it works.
So sorry to interrupt in between, sir. We're getting many requests. So could you please continue in bilingual?
Bilingual? Yes, why not?
Thank you.
In fact, अब हिंदी में मैं इसको समराइज करने की कोशिश करता हूँ जो अभी तक मैंने बोला. मेरे एक्सपीरियंसेस ने मुझे कुछ इनसाइट्स दिए, मैं आपको बता देता हूँ. एक इनसाइट जो मुझे मिला वो ये है कि हमेशा सीखते रहना होगा. You have to constantly learn. You have to constantly be on the learning curve. My experiences taught me that the body and the mind is moldable and changeable. It bends to your will. आपकी will power से, आपकी desire से, उसके force से आप reality को bend कर सकते हो to certain degrees. Not completely. You cannot wish yourself, become a foot taller than you are. That won't happen because there is physics which will prevent it. But many things in this life, in this world, are moldable to your will. That was the biggest takeaway which I found in bilingual. Now I've said it. So the UPSC exam भी किसी भी एक जॉब इंटरव्यू की तरह है जिसमें जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं वो मैच करने की कोशिश की जाती है एप्लीकेंट्स के साथ, एप्लीकेंट्स की एबिलिटीज के साथ. हमारे केस में यहाँ पर यूपीएससी के केस में क्या है रिक्वायरमेंट्स और कैसे मैच करा जाएगा? वो रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं कि वो एप्लीकेंट, वो एस्पिरेंट, उसको गवर्नमेंट की और इंडिया की जो चैलेंजेस हैं उसकी एक बहुत अच्छी अंडरस्टैंडिंग और नॉलेज होनी चाहिए और उसके पास एक ऐसी उसके पास सोच इतनी होनी चाहिए कि वो उसकी सोल्यूशन भी सजेस्ट कर सके. सबसे पहले तो उसको ये जानना होगा कि इंडिया की चैलेंजेस और पॉपुलेशन और जितने भी चैलेंजेस हैं, देयर आर मल्टीपल चैलेंजेस, वो हैं क्या. उसको ये भी जानना होगा कि उसमें उनमें कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी क्या है, क्यों नहीं सॉल्व होती हैं आराम से. इट्स ईजियर सेड देन डन. इट्स नॉट जस्ट करप्शन एंड इनएफिशिएंसी व्हिच यू विल अप्रिशिएट इन ड्यू कोर्स ऑफ टाइम. देयर problems that you face are highly complicated and they require a lot of effort and thought from a lot of people in order to resolve. ये appreciation होनी जरूरी है. तो इन चीजों की कॉम्बिनेशन के आसपास ही यूपीएससी एग्जाम आपको टेस्ट करेगा. यूपीएससी का जो सिलेबस है वो लाइफ के सिलेबस से बहुत मैच करता है क्योंकि हमको लाइफ में, अब उसके बहुत सारे रीजन हैं जो मैंने आपको बताया, उसमें से एक रीजन ये है कि लाइफ कभी भी डिसिप्लिन्स को सेपरेट करके नहीं बताती है आपको. लाइफ में आपको कोई इकोनॉमिक्स की प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगी, ना कोई फिलोसफी की या साइकोलॉजी की आएगी. Life will just throw problems at you, whether or not you know or understand the subject domain of that knowledge of that thing is not. Life will not ask you. You see, if a member of your family goes through a mental trauma, अगर आपके फैमिली मेंबर को कोई मेंटल ट्रॉमा होता है, आपको बेसिक साइकोलॉजी की नॉलेज नहीं है, फिर भी आपको वो सीखना पड़ेगा थोड़ा बहुत, अगर आपको वहां पर सपोर्ट देना है और केयर गिवर बनना है तो। देयर इज नो चॉइस, देयर इज नो ऑप्शन। जैसे लाइफ में एकेडमिक डिस्टिंक्शंस नहीं होते हैं, यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन में भी एकेडमिक डिस्टिंक्शंस नहीं है। सिलेबस बहुत वास्ट है, बहुत ओपन एंडेड सा है, कुछ भी पूछा जा सकता है, बट जो भी पूछा जाएगा वो इसलिए पूछा जाएगा क्योंकि वो इम्पोर्टेंट है, जरूरी है, महत्वपूर्ण है आपके लिए, इंडिया के लिए, और एक जनरल उसकी रेलेवेंस है, एक बर्निंग इशू है। वो जिस चीज को हम करंट अफेयर्स बोलते हैं, वो इसी चीज की नॉलेज टेस्ट कर रहा होता है आपको कॉन्स्टेंटली एग्जामिनेशन। I want to show you a video now. I will share my screen. Unfortunately, the video is in English, but it is in such simple English that I'm sure you can understand it. आपको आ जाएगा समझ में to the most part. अगर जो नहीं भी आएगा वो मैं आपके लिए ट्रांसलेट कर दूंगा। तो let me share my screen and let's see. It's a very short video, 4 or 5 minutes. But you know, since we are using technology, I want to use technology to the maximum, and I love doing this. I found this makes learning and teaching so much more powerful. The entire crux of this video was that you need to know that you don't know. Be humble about it. Open your mind to the possibility that there is more to the world than what you think there is, and then explore some, and then explore some more. And that, according to that video, and I also believe it, is true intelligence. How open are you? कितना लैटिट्यूड है आपके पास अपने खुद के व्यूज चेंज करने का, जब एविडेंस दिखाया जाता है कि उसमें कुछ तब्दीली की जरूरत है? क्या आप वो कर पाते हैं? आर यू रैशनल इनफ कि आप अपने बिलीव्स को और अपने थॉट्स को पकड़ के जकड़ के रखते हैं क्योंकि आपकी ईगो बीच में आ रही है? ये बहुत एक्सटेंसिवली टेस्ट होगा यूपीएससी में, यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन में। आपको ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस दिए जाएंगे, एथिक्स के पेपर में आपको ये मिलेंगे, ऐसे के पेपर में आपको मिलेंगे, और ये ही गेज करने की कोशिश करी जाएगी, खासकर इंटरव्यू में, कि आपका मेंटल एटीट्यूड कितना है, आप कितने बाकी लोगों के पर्सपेक्टिव्स समझ पाए भी हैं कि नहीं, क्या आपने कोशिश करी है कि नहीं। ये बहुत एक्सटेंसिवली टेस्ट होगा। That is another reason why I say that the UPSC exam is the exam of life. I hope you liked that video and I taught you something. Very important insight, which has completely transformed my life and changed it upside down, comes from my idol, one of my idols, and somebody who I have a lot of respect for. Richard Feynman was a Nobel Prize winning physicist and supposedly one of the smartest people to ever live, although he did not consider himself to be intelligent at all. But this was the person who, after Einstein, created some major revolutions in physics and our understanding of the universe. Whatever it was, his respect comes from the fact that he taught people that anybody can achieve exceptional levels of success and understanding if they are curious enough. Richard Feynman's basic message was curiosity. That it is curiosity, like I was mentioning to you, that we are a species very, very curious, highly anxiety prone, and not very comfortable with uncertainty. You know, अनसर्टेनिटी एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी, जैसा कि आपने इस वीडियो में देखा, उसने बोला कि अनसर्टेनिटी और कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बहुत ज्यादा होती है दुनिया में, और जितनी भी आइडियोलॉजीज हैं वो किसी ना किसी तरीके से उसको स्कैफोल्ड करके सिंप्लीफाई करने की कोशिश करती हैं हमारे लिए। इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि वो रियलिटी को अच्छे से मैप कर पाती हैं, वो नहीं कर पाती हैं, क्योंकि रियलिटी उनसे ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है किसी भी आइडियोलॉजी से। यही चीज समझाई जाती है, यही चीज समझाई जाती है और टेस्ट करी जाती है यूपीएससी में। आप देखेंगे कि ये जो वर्ड क्यूरियोसिटी है, जिज्ञासा, क्यूरियोसिटी, ये 4 जगह मेंशन है यूपीएससी सिलेबस में। यूपीएससी नोटिफिकेशन में देखिए, आपको 4 जगह मेंशन मिलेगा ये वर्ड, क्यूरियोसिटी, 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 क्यूरियोसिटी। क्यों? क्योंकि ये एक फंडामेंटल ड्राइवर है आपकी इंटेलिजेंस का और आपकी इस आपकी अडेप्टेबिलिटी का, आप जो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी और जो इन्फिनिट कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी की बात हो रही है, इसके बीचों बीच आपको डाल दिया जाएगा जब आप ऑफिसर बन जाएंगे किसी एक पर्टिकुलर इशू के बारे में, या आप सिक्योरिटी देख रहे होंगे एज अ पुलिस ऑफिसर, मे बी यू आर लुकिंग आफ्टर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, यू नो, मे बी यू आर डीलिंग विद समथिंग रिलेटेड टू कोविड, वट एवर इट इज, वो कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सिचुएशन होगी, वहां पर जरूर टेस्ट होगा आपका माइंड कितना ओपन है, और आपका माइंड कितना ओपन कितनी जल्दी किसी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड चीज को समझता है वो डिपेंड करता है आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी पे। एक और रीजन है कि ये क्यूरियोसिटी इतना फंडामेंटल, इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है, और वो ये है कि जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया, यूपीएससी के सिलेबस में बहुत सारे अलग अलग टॉपिक्स मेंशन हैं। उन टॉपिक्स का कोई सिंप्लीफिकेशन करना बहुत मुश्किल है। ऐसा लगता है, आपको देख के ऐसा लगेगा कि सभी कुछ है इसमें ऐसा क्या है जो है नहीं। इट अपीयर्स दैट एवरीथिंग इज इन इट। मैंने ये जाना और एक्सपीरियंस भी किया, और मैं ये सीखा अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस से। 3 साल मैंने इस एग्जामिनेशन को क्लियर किया, 3 सक्सेसिव अटेम्प्ट्स आई क्लियर इट ओनली बिकॉज आई वाज एक्सट्रीमली क्यूरियस। इनफैक्ट क्यूरियोसिटी की वजह से ही मैं सर्वाइव कर पाया। एक दिन मुझे हिस्ट्री पढ़नी होती थी, तो दूसरे दिन पॉलिटी, तीसरे दिन इकोनॉमिक्स, चौथे दिन ज्योग्राफी, और मुझे टाइम नहीं मिला था कि मैं हर एक चीज में इंटरेस्ट बनाऊं बैठ के। इट हैड टू हैपन वेरी क्विकली, स्पॉन्टेनियसली। वो सीखना पड़ेगा आपको भी। वो सिर्फ क्यूरियोसिटी से होता है। देखिए, आप क्यूरियोसिटी को आपके अंदर ऑलरेडी है, वो आप इंसान हो तो आपके अंदर वो है। ऑल ह्यूमंस हैव इट। इनफैक्ट व्हेन द ह्यूमन चाइल्ड इज बोर्न, the first thing it is doing is exploring its environment. It is putting things in its mouth. It's trying to figure out what the world is all about. This exploration and this exercise of curiosity lasts for about 15 to 20 years, in which the child, and you are at the fag end of that period, in which the child is exploring its world. It is being driven by curiosity, sheer curiosity. अब बच्चों में आपको देखने को मिलेगी sheer, absolute, unbridled curiosity. हर चीज का उनको जवाब चाहिए। ये आप में भी है, इसको अब आपको चैनल करना है यूपीएससी की प्रिपरेशन में। आपको उन चीजों के बारे में क्यूरियस होना है जो अभी तक आप जिनके बारे में क्यूरियस नहीं हुए, शायद क्योंकि आपको जरूरत नहीं थी या जो भी उसके रीजन थे। अब आप इसको चैनल करिए। कैसे करा जाए चैनल? इसको चैनल करने का एक ही तरीका है। आपको ये जानना पड़ेगा, समझना पड़ेगा कि हर चीज इन्फिनिटली इंटरेस्टिंग होती है जब हम उसके बीच के कनेक्शन ढूंढने स्टार्ट कर देते हैं। कोई चीज अगर पैसिवली आपको प्रेजेंट करी जाए, आपको एक बोरिंग सी टेक्स्ट बुक दे दी जाए, आपको पढ़ने के लिए बोला जाए, तो शायद आपको उसमें इंटरेस्ट नहीं आएगा इमीडिएटली, अनलेस you make a connection with that text to yourself and you start engaging with it and talking to it and asking the question, why is it important? And once you ask this question, trust me, the answer will appear, because it is connected. Everything is connected. Let me show you a very small video, 2-minute video of what curiosity is and why it's so intoxicating. It definitely triggered something in me when I first encountered it, UPSC preparation. During my UPSC preparation, I hope the same thing happens to you. If you get addicted to curiosity, it will transform everything in your life for the better. But let's see if that happens. It is a subjective statement to make. Let's see if that happens. Curiosity. Richard Feynman was very curious, and आपको क्यूरियस होना पड़ेगा अगर आप यूपीएससी का एग्जाम करना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि इतने सारे सब्जेक्ट्स, इतने सारे टॉपिक्स हैं, इतने सारे विषय आपको कवर करने पड़ेंगे, समझने पड़ेंगे डेप्थ में, कि आप उसके साथ सुपरफिशियली एंगेज करके वो नहीं कर पाएंगे, वो एसिमुलेट नहीं होंगे माइंड में जब तक आप उसमें जेन्युइन इंटरेस्ट नहीं दिखाएंगे। और जेन्युइन इंटरेस्ट दिखाने के लिए आपके पास और कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, अपने इनबॉर्न क्यूरियोसिटी को लगाना होगा, उसमें चैनल करना होगा उसके अंदर। I am now drawing to the conclusion, and I'm now at the fag end of my lecture, very close to it. But there are 2 very important things I need to share with you, 2 or perhaps 3. One of them is that यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन में आपको जनरल अवेयरनेस और जनरल नॉलेज या जीएस जो भी उसको वो हम बोले हैं, वो एक्सटेंसिवली टेस्ट होगा। एक्सटेंसिव टेस्ट, सबसे ज्यादा इनफैक्ट टेस्टिंग उसी की होगी, प्रीलिम्स में भी, मेंस में भी और इंटरव्यू में भी। जनरल अवेयरनेस में वही सब चीजें आ जाती हैं जो मैं आपसे अभी, जिसके बारे में मैं आपसे अभी चर्चा कर रहा था, कि इस दुनिया की काफी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है, उस पूरी कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी के पैटर्न्स को समझना है हमको। हमारे को ना इकोनॉमिक्स का एक्सपर्ट बनना है, ना हमको फिलोसोफर बनना है, ना हमारे को लेखक बनना है। We need to understand the complexity and how all these things are connected, because the whole world is connected. What is general studies and current affairs? General studies is current affairs. You see, current affairs is nothing but general studies in action. Take the example of, take any example, take the example of the COVID pandemic. COVID pandemic. कौन से डिसिप्लिन्स के साथ इसका एक ऑर्गेनिक कनेक्शन नहीं है? सबके साथ है. Obviously very closely related to science, biotechnology, vaccines, but also highly related to socio-economic things, socio-economic statuses, to the challenges that it has brought, to ethical questions, right? To psychological questions. It has produced levels of stress and levels of social isolation which humans at this scale have never experienced. This is a global event of tremendous magnitude. It has changed everything in our world. Take the example of the farm laws and the agitation that was happening, which is very much part of current affairs and general studies. अगर आप एग्जाम दे रहे होते या आप दे रहे हैं तो आपको डेफिनेटली इसके बारे में जानकारी होगी, आप पढ़ रहे होंगे, आप इस चीज को समझ रहे होंगे और एनालाइज कर रहे होंगे. आई एम श्योर. फार्म लॉज हर चीज से कैसे कनेक्टेड है, डिपेंड करता है कि कौन उनको देख रहा है कैसे. देखिए, एक तरीके से इट इज ए इशू ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स. क्या गवर्नमेंट को वो सब्सिडीज देनी चाहिए, क्या गवर्नमेंट को उसको कॉर्पोरेटाइज कर देना चाहिए? इट्स एन इकोनॉमिक क्वेश्चन एंड इट्स अ मैटर ऑफ पॉलिसी. क्या डायरेक्शन लेती है गवर्नमेंट इस टॉपिक पे? दैट इज अ कंटेंशन एंड देयर आर टू साइड्स टू दैट आर्गुमेंट. नो जजमेंट कॉल्स आर हियर. व्हाटएवर इज better, I hope, prevails. But your challenge as an aspirant is to appreciate this complexity. It is not only an economic question, it's a social question. It is a cultural question. It is also a psychological question, right? And so many of these things, they intersect. कोई sociology अगर समझता है, जानता है, तो वो इन फार्म लॉस को सोशियोलॉजिकल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखेगा या देखेगी. कोई अगर साइकोलॉजिस्ट है तो वो इसको अलग पॉइंट से देखेगा, कोई इकोनॉमिस्ट इसको एक बिल्कुल डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखेगा. आपका काम एज अ यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट एंड एज अ वेल एजुकेटेड इंडियन, young Indian, is to appreciate all these perspectives. It's to appreciate that all things in the world, in the universe, are connected, and to appreciate patterns in this connectedness. Now, I have a suggestion for you. I have a very interesting suggestion for you, in fact. There is a show on Netflix which I highly recommend you watch. The name of the show itself is Connected. Connected. I wanted to show this to you is to tell you कि आपको ये जो भी इन्फिनिट कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है, कनेक्टेडनेस है, इसको समझने के लिए स्कॉलर बनने की जरूरत नहीं है. आप टीवी देख सकते हैं, नेटफ्लिक्स पे इतना अच्छा कंटेंट, नेटफ्लिक्स पे, यूट्यूब पे. अगर आपको पता है कि आपको कहाँ उस चीज को खोजना है, if you know where to look, you will find that now with the current level of technology, all of the information of the human race collectively is available at the click of a button, provided you know where to look for it, right? This shows one of those things. Of course, there are many. Go through it, see it, experience it, and then try to connect the dots. And then try to do the same thing when you study for the UPSC syllabus. Try to do the same thing you see with the history, with the economics, with the geography, and the polity. And you will see that the connections you make will be better. जो क्वेश्चंस आपको वहां पर एग्जाम में दिखेंगे, प्रीलिम्स में और मेंस में, आप इमीडिएटली पहचान पाएंगे कि ये क्यों पूछा गया है. बहुत सारे एस्पिरेंट्स अभी नहीं समझ पाते हैं, अनफॉर्चुनेटली. मैं बहुत सारे आंसर्स चेक करता हूँ और आई डू ऑल्सो कंडक्ट इंटरव्यूज फॉर पीपल हु क्लियर्ड मेंस, और आई रियलाइज दैट मेनी ऑफ देम डू नॉट ट्रूली अप्रिशिएट द फंडामेंटल कॉन्सेप्ट, इज नॉट क्लियर. आपको ये चीज अप्रिशिएट करने के लिए कुछ ब्रॉड पैटर्न्स की जरूरत पड़ेगी. वो ब्रॉड पैटर्न्स कभी कभार, इनफैक्ट ज्यादातर, किताबों से नहीं मिलते हैं. वो मिलते हैं अच्छी डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज से. ब्रॉड पिक्चर बन जाती है माइंड में एक पैटर्न की, और उस पैटर्न को लेके हम बहुत सारी डिटेल्स उस पर डाल सकते हैं. हमारी फंडामेंटल अंडरस्टैंडिंग सॉलिड हो जाती है अगर उसको हम ठीक से करें. That brings me to what I was talking about learning how to learn. The fundamental thing, you see, another thing I suppose I should tell you at your age and at the world that you are stepping in, आप अभी job markets में जाओगे और अभी आप you're maturing into young adults. The world is drastically different from what it was 10 years ago and 20 years ago and so on. It is changing so fast that everyone is having to learn very, very quickly. Everyone is on a learning curve. Everyone. COVID pandemic came and every one of us had to adapt. आपको भी सीखना पड़ा, मुझे भी सीखना पड़ा, कोई नहीं बचा इससे, और हमको सीखना पड़ा. जो अच्छे से सीख गए, फास्ट सीख गए, उनको एडवांटेज मिली. जो नहीं सीखे वो थोड़ा सा शायद पीछे रह गए, और एटलीस्ट वो ये महसूस कर रहे होंगे कि कमी है. आपको हमेशा अपने जॉब में भी, चाहे आप जो मर्जी जिस भी जॉब में हो, आप वेदर यू बिकम एन ऑफिसर और यू बिकम एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, आपको कॉन्स्टेंटली लर्निंग करनी पड़ेगी. ये एक रियलिटी है. इस चीज के साथ कंफर्टेबल हो जाइए, इस चीज के साथ मेक फ्रेंड्स विद इट, एम्ब्रेस इट, लव इट. इट विल नेवर लीव यू. एंड इन एनी केस अगर आप इसको प्यार से और शौक से ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, नॉलेज को क्यूरियोसिटी के साथ, जैसे मैंने आपको सजेस्ट किया है, तो आप बोर होंगे भी नहीं, क्योंकि आप हमेशा फैसिनेट होते रहेंगे नई चीजों से. Isaac Asimov is one of the brightest people to ever live, a very good scientist and also a brilliant writer. He said, education is not something you can finish. You can't finish it. Just because you pass out from college doesn't mean your education is finished. It is never finished. It never can be finished. It is you who might stop learning, but then you'd be doing a disservice to yourself. My suggestion to you is to not do that. Continue learning and be very hungry for more. This, of course, is good life advice, but otherwise also very particularly, very pertinently, for the UPSC, it is highly, highly relevant. आपको बहुत जरूरत पड़ेगी इसकी, क्योंकि एक तो बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस है, बहुत सारे अलग अलग डाइवर्स टॉपिक्स हैं, और सारे के सारे आपके शौक के, आपके पसंद के नहीं होंगे. तो आपको इसकी लर्निंग कर्व पे रहना ही होगा, खासकर इसलिए क्योंकि करंट अफेयर्स एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है, और करंट अफेयर्स हमेशा चेंज होते रहते हैं. They are always constantly changing. It's very dynamic. That will have to be the state of your mind also. एक बहुत अच्छी बात मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ, जो मुझे लगता है कि आपके बहुत काम आएगी यूपीएससी के एग्जाम में भी और वैसे भी लाइफ में भी. और वो ये है कि किसी ने मुझे स्कूल में या कॉलेज में, nobody taught me about beauty. I'm not talking about physical beauty. I am talking about beauty itself. I got to learn about entertainment in my school days and colleges. You know, this is entertaining, that is entertaining, there are movies and so on and so forth, many such entertainment things, but they only distract the mind. I never got to realize that the most intoxicating thing out there is free, and that's beauty. It's because I was never exposed to the right kind of beauty. Beauty is something like curiosity. It is inherently embedded in our nature. Humans seek out beauty wherever they go because they seek out patterns. They are pattern recognition machines. आपके माइंड को ब्यूटी और सिमेट्री अच्छी लगती है क्योंकि उसकी वायरिंग ही ऐसी है. वो क्यों अच्छी लगती है उसके बारे में हमारे को चर्चा करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बट हमको ये जरूर समझ लेना चाहिए इससे कि क्योंकि ये ब्यूटी इतनी इंटॉक्सिकेटिंग है इसके लिए और ये फ्रीली अवेलेबल है, तो हमको इसका यूटिलाइजेशन करना चाहिए. वी शुड सराउंड आवरसेल्व्स विद इट. It has the power to heal, it has the power to inspire, and it has the power to educate. Beauty. I want to show you the last video that I'll be showing you today from somebody who I respect highly. The speaker is Jason Silva. He will talk about beauty. He'll talk about beauty in a beautiful way, using beautiful words and beautiful language. His 5-minute conversation will be about beauty, and I want you to open your mind and your heart to this idea. I want you to feel it in the body. The distinction when you figure or when you encounter anything beautiful, anything at all, whether it's visual beauty or it's aesthetic beauty or whatever it is, there will be an accompanying physical sensation. If it is physical, if there is a physical sensation coming through your body, like goosebumps, then you have encountered something beautiful and you should hold on to it. So this is Jason Silva on beauty, one of my very important and beautiful message I thought he had for us. Go chase beauty, he says. And I think you should do that in whatever you do, especially in the UPSC exam. Chase it in music, chase it in architecture, chase it in whatever you read and study, add visuals to it, use Google, and completely and always chase beauty and aesthetics. My final insight for you, and the last thing that I will share with you, is this. The UPSC examination and also the examination of life. The biggest and the most important part of that syllabus is emotional intelligence and relationships. This might sound like generic life advice, but you will find in the UPSC examination an entire paper of ethics in which this is extensively tested. Literally tested. You will have to write answers and a lot of content about this. Emotional intelligence is essential. It will be tested in the interview extensively also. Whether or not you realize it, it is being tested. In life, it is absolutely essential. In fact, the biggest study in psychology for happiness was concluded recently. This study, ये study 50 साल से ज़्यादा तक चली. इसको कई सारे researchers ने एक फैमिली प्रोजेक्ट की तरह साल भर साल अलग अलग जनरेशंस ने इसको करा और कुछ लोगों की हैप्पीनेस लेवल्स को ट्रेस किया गया ओवर मेनी इयर्स, 50 years, 75 years, I don't know, it went on for a long time. Ultimately, the conclusions have emerged. The data is in, the results are out. What is the result? The longest study in psychology in the world about happiness suggests that happiness is contingent upon human relationships, upon the quality of human relationships. Money does not have anything to do with it beyond a certain point. The quality of relationships determines happiness and the quality of life. This is contingent upon something called emotional intelligence. ये वो चीज होती है जो हम में सब में होती है टू वेरिंग डिग्री, जिससे हम हमारे सामने वाले के अपने सामने खड़े व्यक्ति के बारे में जानते हैं, उस सहानुभूति रखते हैं उसके साथ, उसकी बात को समझते हैं, उसका पर्सपेक्टिव समझते हैं, कोशिश करते हैं कि हम उसके अंदर जाके एक्सपीरियंस करें जो वो एक्सपीरियंस कर रहा है, चाहे वो पेन ही हो, चाहे वो जो भी हो. इसको एम्पैथी बोलते हैं. दिस इज इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस. इट रिवॉल्व्स अराउंड योर मैनेजमेंट ऑफ द इमोशंस ऑफ अदर पीपल एंड योर ओन. एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर लाइफ इन द यूपीएससी एग्जाम ऑल्सो, बिकॉज आपकी मेंटल हेल्थ टेस्ट होगी इस एग्जामिनेशन की प्रिपरेशन में, क्योंकि ये बहुत लंबा, जैसे कि मैंने बताया आपको, लंबा और थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट एग्जाम है. आपको फ्रस्ट्रेशन, एंजाइटी, डिप्रेशन होगी. आपको इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस की जरूरत पड़ेगी, क्योंकि आपको खुद को मैनेज करना होगा. और हो सकता है आप उस वक्त बाकी लोगों को भी सहारा दे रहे हों. ये एक एसेंशियल लाइफ स्किल है. अब देखिए यूपीएससी एग्जाम ने आपको क्या क्या नहीं दे दिया है. Is it not a complete and perfect re-education for a human being to have? The schools and colleges don't teach us this stuff, unfortunately, with all due respect. It's not in the curriculum and it's not part of the education system. It's not tested, and you don't get a job or lose a job because of the lack of these things as such in life. They look at qualifications and certain other things. ये मेरा आपके लिए मैसेज था, और अब मैं कंक्लूड कर रहा हूँ. आप अपना लेक्चर जो मैंने आपको बताना था, जो मैं बता सका इस दौरान, इस ड्यूरेशन में मैंने आपको बताया. जो लोग यूपीएससी एग्जाम में इंटरेस्टेड हैं, उनको एक कॉमन इशू ये रहता है कि कैसे स्टार्ट की जाए प्रिपरेशन. उसके लिए आई इनवाइट देम टू अंडरटेक द यूपीएससी सिलेबस चैलेंज. द यूपीएससी सिलेबस चैलेंज इज समथिंग दैट आई क्रिएटेड for people like yourself, and I will share it with you. देखिए, ये मैंने आपको चैट बॉक्स में भेजा है. आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर पाएंगे इसको, मैं आपको ईमेल, आई विल सेंड यू एन ईमेल आल्सो विद दीस डिटेल्स एंड सम वेरी यूजफुल रिसोर्सेज अबाउट दिस, अबाउट द यूपीएससी एग्जामिनेशन। यूपीएससी सिलेबस चैलेंज आपके पास है, जो मैंने आपको बताया उसको कोशिश करिए सिमुलेट करने की। आपको अगर कोई चीज ठीक लगी तो उसको अपनाइए, और you can reach out to me for anything, and I am trying and investing effort in making the UPSC examination easier. I will try to do whatever I can for you. Thank you for being a brilliantly patient and amazing audience. आपने बहुत patiently बात सुनी, और I think आप में से कुछ लोगों को बात समझ में भी आई। I am very privileged to have this opportunity. मेरी presentation का end है, बट हो सकता है आपके लिए किसी नई चीज की स्टार्टिंग हो, अगर आपके अंदर कुछ ट्रिगर हो गया है तो। I'll be very happy if that is the case. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Over to Ruchi.
Thank you very much, sir. That was indeed very helpful. So we are, now I would like to invite Dr. Bharat sir for extending a vote of thanks on the behalf of the college.
A very good evening to present here. On the behalf of Shivaji College, Disha Society, the Civil Service Society of Shivaji College, with the collaboration of YUVA, Youth United for Vision and Action, I would like to extend my vote of thanks to Mr. Ravi Kapoor because of their valuable loaded information, torrent of ideas, and the vision. Sir, your words of wisdom have radiated a source of energy within us. I hope this will serve definitely as a new starting point for all of us. I believe we can benefit immediately from such an enlightening and informative session. Your enthusiasm is highly contagious and motivating for all of us. We really appreciate your valuable contribution, sir. You just give us the food to think, to understand the syllabus of life, the exam of life, because UPSC is just like that only. Once again, I'm very much thankful for your willingness to share your time and expertise in this session, and it was very critical for the success of this webinar. Thank you so much, sir. Now,
That is mine, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now,
Thank
I would
you, sir.
extend my vote of thanks to Dr. Shiv Kumar Sadev, sir, Principal of Shivaji College, for their valuable support. And I also would extend my thanks to convener of the Disha Society, Professor Darshan Pandey, sir, and the whole team of Disha, which make this event successful, and all the patient listeners who gave their good patience to listening all the enthusiastic and motivating and splendid presentations by the Mr. Ravi Kapoor, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Guys, we've posted a feedback form in the chat box. You all are requested to please fill that up. Thank you for joining in. You may leave the meeting now. Thank you.